Ladies and gentlemen, this is your game that's speaking. Today we're going to be learning about Blend Trees and Unity's animator layers. Unity's mechanisms are really powerful tool, nearly as comparable to Unity's particle system. Mecanim allows for all kinds of animations, transitions, effects, and a lot more. But when we get to combining our animations with our code, well, the animator can get a lot messy. Say a character has two animations, idle and walk. Very simple, two animations. Now say a character has a state where it's carrying a pistol. Well, two more animations, idle pistol and walk pistol. Alright, not bad. But then we add a sword to the mix, then a rifle, then an RPG, and boom. Now something happens which we like to call animator hell. There are a lot of transition lines so they're filling the entire animator window and we can't really move them because all are equally important. It gets even worse when you have a separate character state, like say the health is low or the character is injured or it's a power up or the character is tired, etc, etc. Well, mecanim contains a feature called Blend Trees. These basically blend animations. Yeah. They're used for taking two or more animations and mix them smoothly while using all the different animations in some effect. This is done by using single float value or multiple float values. Let's take an example here. Here's an idle animation. Very simple, just standing, and a walking animation, and a running animation. In order to combine these using a normal animation transition, it will look sorta like this. In just three animations, we need two different booleans or at least a single float, a lot of transition lines, and if we just want to add a single more animation to the animator, the number of lines increase exponentially. Here's the same thing in a blend tree. A single float, a single line, and adding a new animation is just adding a new animation with a transition line. Pretty cool, huh? Let's make it. First we have a character from mecanim with idle animation, of course, and a run animation and a walk animation. Download all of them and just import them in Unity. Okay, back in Unity. First off, we of course need to import the model. The model doesn't really have any textures applied to it, so first off we need to extract the textures. So yeah, let's just do that. And let's create a material for the textures and just let's name it, yeah, and drag and drop the base colors and the normal. Now the character have texture applied to it. Great. Let's go just do some animations. Let's Control D to duplicate the idle animation, and let's just rename it to idle animation. Loop time, of course. And yeah, let's unpack the prefab first, and now just drag and drop it. Let's create a separate folder for the textures and materials just so that the stuff is a little bit more clean. Alright, in the animation now you can see that the character have an idle animation applied to it. Alright. Let's head back to mecanim just to get the walk and the run animation. Let's just drag and drop the animations now. The same thing, just Control D to duplicate the animation and we can delete the prefab. And now this is where the blend trees start to happen. Currently it has just a single state, the idle state. Let's create a blend tree. Let's rename it to motion or something, like you can still call it whatever you want. And as you can see, it has a separate parameter, blend. So let's just change the value to velocity, again speed, x, y. You can again name it whatever you want. And yeah, let's just drag and drop the idle animation. Again, another motion field, drag and drop the walk animation. Now don't think this is still a single animation, right? Of course, loop time, duh. And yeah, now turn off the automatic threshold. Don't worry about it. Yeah, let's drag and drop the run animation as well. The same thing, Control D to duplicate the animation, delete the prefab, rename the thing, loop time enabled of course, and yeah, another new motion field, run animation, and yeah, in order to see it, and now you can see we have three animations applied to our animator, the run animation and the walk animation. Now this is the beauty of Blend Tree. Like of course they are all separate animations, but the way how Blend Tree works is that you can actually see the preview of the thing. So now let's click on the play button, and as you can see, when I move the toggle, the velocity increases or decreases, and the same thing goes for the character animation. For one it's walk, and then when as you increase the velocity, the speed of the animation increases as well. The animation transitions from walking to idle to run. Pretty dang cool. And we are doing all of that using a single float value. So yeah, that is already pretty dang cool. Okay, next up we have the 2D blend trees. 2D blend trees basically work like a chain animation. They basically chain a lot of animations in a 2D plane. I know it may sounds what the hell is going on, 2D plane for animation. Don't worry, what we just did was a 1D animation in which we basically have a single float value that basically transitions multiple animations. For the 2D blend tree, we will have two float values to chain a lot of animations. For that, let's just first create a separate folder. We're going to duplicate the character and make an entirely different animator for that. It's time to take some animations from mecanim. I'm going to take the rifle animations because they basically have all the animations that we would need. So I'll see you after we get all the animations. Alright, now that we have downloaded all the animations, I think it's time to get the idle animation and import it to Unity. Alright, the same thing, Control D to duplicate, delete the original one, and loop time enabled of course, and let's just drag and drop in the new model. And if we go to animation, you can see the rifle idle animation is now playing. Nice. Now let's get the rest of the animations. Okay, now that we have all the animations, let's go to our animator, and it's time to create a new blend tree. Of course, we can rename it to whatever we want, and let's open it up. For the parameters, we're gonna need two parameters. The first one, let's call it X, and the second one we can just call it Y. Again, we need two parameters because it's gonna be a 2D blend tree. Let's select the type to 2D, the first one, right? And change the parameters so X and Y. And for the motions, now we can just drag and drop the motions of idle animation, just like we did in the one-dimensional. Okay, now that we have dragged and dropped it, let's add another motion. And don't worry, this is the plane that I was talking about. Don't get nervous seeing this shape. Alright, let's drag and drop all the animations to the graph, and yeah. Okay, now that we have all the animations, here's how it's work. Basically, the two values are gonna, all the animations are basically in the small points, the blue points, and wherever this main orange or red point is basically what animations are gonna be playing. So as you can see, I'm currently changing the position of X and position of Y, and the reason you will see in a second. Okay, now that all the animations are in place, as you can see that it creates a rhombus. The reason why this happens is that all the animations, the float values are basically the position X and position Y values. So Now as you can see, if we play it, you will see that as I change the X value, it goes to the right, and in the graph you can see the red point basically moves towards the right. If I change the value to left, the red point changes the value, and the circle around the points basically denotes the amount of influence that animation have over the character. So currently the idle, then the left, again to the idle, and yeah, the same goes for the forward and backward, of course. And this is where really the power of blend trees impact. As you can see, I can use the top right or the top left to go in the forward right direction, the forward left direction. Same goes for backward right and backward left. This is where the power of blend trees are at its peak. Okay, I have just one more thing I need to show you all, which is the animator layers. Animator layers are also a very important part of Unity's mechanism. You can consider layers as basically the states. Like say we have a base layer in which the primary animators, blend trees, all the animators are there. In order to create a new one, all you have to do is just press the plus button and a new layer is born. Okay, here I have a separate layer. What layer basically does is that it can change the animation depending upon the weight of the layer. Now for that we will need different animations. So first of all we will just download a new animation and call it injured, right? And yeah, let's search for idle animation. So injured idle, let's just get that. And now we can just import it to Unity. Of course, do the same thing, Control D to duplicate, turn on the loop time, delete the prefab. And alright, in the animation layer, of course, let's just drag and drop it as its primary animation. Okay, now let's play it. Yeah, this is the first time we are playing it, but let's just see what happens. You can see that alright, let's just go to settings and increase the layer weight. And as you can see, when we increase the layer weight, it changes the animation accordingly. Now hold on, let's set this as the default state. Open this up, increase the velocity, yeah. Okay, now it's walking. Alright, nice. And if we go back to the layers and change the settings, you can see that it basically stops. And here's another beauty of mechanism. If we basically change the layer weight to say 0.5, you can see that the animations again blend together, but in a different node. Now it's the animator layer doing the blending. Now the character looks like, yeah, it's walking perfectly, but it's like now it's basically hurt or injured, to say the least. And remember, the injured animation was idle animation. If I set the weight to 1, it's an idle animation. But now it seems like, the character is injured. And yeah, this was a basic animator layer tutorial. There are thousands and thousands of stuff that I probably missed, so sorry, but this is a basis to mechanism. I hope you have learned something new today, and I hope you will try to read some more documentation on mechanism, blend trees, animator layer and all of that. Watch more YouTube tutorials and all of that. This was more of a intro to blend trees and mechanism. So thanks for watching, and yeah, cheers, peace.